Dear students, last class I just introduced about the new course, that is manufacturing technology. So let us see some more details about manufacturing technology in this class. So that's what we have discussed in the last class. I will just brief it up what we have discussed in the last class. What is Industry 4.0? How Industry 4.0 is evolved starting from 1.0 to 4.0 with the help of this block diagram. And then we have defined what is manufacturing technology and what are the prerequisites for this course. And the prerequisites for this course are metallurgy and material science. You have studied in your second year BTech, and similarly the workshop practice are manufacturing practices that this course you might have undergone in your first year level. So these are the two courses are the prerequisites to understand the manufacturing technology. So the simple definition for the manufacturing technology is conversion of raw material into desired shape. Desired shape is called as manufacturing technology. So what are the course objectives for this? The objectives are to understand about the sand casting and metal casting techniques, to impart the knowledge of various welding processes, to understand about the importance of mechanical working processes, to appreciate metal cutting processes and working principles of various machine tools. These are the objectives. And similarly, at the end of this course, the student is able to select the suitable casting techniques for making of the components, perform the different welding processes and understand the importance of welding, know the various metal working processes and analyze the metal cutting process and perform various machining processes. So these are the course outcomes. That means at the end of the course you are going to learn, or you can able to understand about this course. Let us discuss first classification of manufacturing processes. The manufacturing processes are broadly classified into 6 categories. The first one is forming. The forming means no material removal or no addition. That means in the forming process we change the shape of the material from one form to another form. So that's why it is called as forming process. So that is further classified as bulk deformation process and sheet metal working processes. What are all these? We'll discuss in detail when we go into the syllabus. And similarly, casting process. So the second process is casting. So this is most widely used process in the industry, and we can produce very simple products as well as complicated projects or complex products using casting techniques. So this is further classified into expandable molds and permanent molds. What are all these? We'll discuss the coming classes. And the third category of manufacturing processes is polymer processes and powder metallurgy processes. Polymer processes is also called as plastic processing processes. So there are 3 types: thermoforming, injection molding, blow molding. And similarly for powder metallurgy, pressing and sintering process. And the next another important manufacturing process is metal removal process. So here we remove the material to get the desired shape. That's what we have seen in the previous slide. So there are various metal removal processes are available. The first one is milling, turning, facing, boring, chamfering, drilling. These are all the operations, and these operations we perform on various machine tools. So that we'll discuss in the coming slides. And the another classification of a material removal process is CNC machines. So these are more accurate than the conventional machine tools. And the last one is non-conventional machining process, that is laser cutting, water jet cutting, etc. And the advanced metal manufacturing processes are additive manufacturing process. So this is further classified as stereolithography, fusion deposition modeling, and selective laser sintering. So actually this additive manufacturing process is a recent manufacturing process, and presently the most of the research is going on this manufacturing process called as additive manufacturing process, and some people also called as 3D printing process. And the last one is finishing and assembly process. So the first category of the finishing process are coatings, and the assembly process here it is given as welding, bonding, riveting, fastening, etc. So this is a broad classification of manufacturing process, but we are not going to study about plastic processing process and additive manufacturing process and the finishing like polishing, plating, etc. The remaining we are going to study in your course at this subject. So this is the same thing we are represented in the form of a block diagram. You can see here the first one is subtractive manufacturing process, where we remove the material to get the desired shape. Let us assume the raw material is in the cuboid shape, so I have removed this material so that I got a shape like this. And another manufacturing process is additive manufacturing process. So you can see here the two workpieces are joined with the help of welding technique. So the welding techniques comes under the additive manufacturing or a joining process, but the advanced manufacturing process, that is named as additive manufacturing, where the manufacturing takes place layer by layer manufacturing, layer by layer adding of material, so that we'll get the final product. So that is actually we call as additive manufacturing. And the joining process is also some people called as additive manufacturing, where we add the material to the existing material so that we'll get a particular shape. And the last one is formative shape or formative manufacturing process, where we will not remove the material, we will not add the material, we just change the shape to get the desired shape from the raw material. So these are the various manufacturing process. So this is your main course content, starting from casting. So the casting is given in unit 1, and similarly the second unit consisting of welding processes, and the third and fourth unit consisting of mechanical working processes 1 and 2, and the fifth unit consisting of theory of metal cutting and engine lathe, and the last unit consisting of various machine tools like milling, shaping, slotting, planing, drilling, boring machines, and the last one is overview on grinding process and machines. So this is the course content broadly, and we'll discuss brief what are all these processes. Casting. So casting is one of the fundamental and very old technique, where we convert the raw material. The raw material we will take it in the form of a liquid, and the liquid we pour into the mold cavity, so that after solidification we will get the required shape. So this you can see, this is a one of the complicated component. This is a engine cover plate or a engine block cover plate, and you can see here this one is a valve. And if you want to manufacture these complicated shapes, so we go for a casting process. So casting consisting of three main steps. First one is we require a pattern. So that's what you can see here, pattern. A pattern is made with different materials, but here it is named as a wooden pattern. And then with the help of this molding board and cope and a drag, we prepare the mold cavity, and the cavity is the shape of the replica of the casting which we require. And then we pour the molten metal into this cavity, so that we'll get the required shape after solidifying the liquid which we have poured in this cavity. So this is, and then we remove this cope and drag boxes, and then we break this sand in the case of sand casting, and then we separate the casted product, and then we finish it for further to get the desired shape. So this is a casting process. The second unit consisting of various welding techniques. So welding means joining of two or more materials by applying heat and or pressure. So you can see here there are some techniques are shown here: arc welding, gas welding, spot welding, and TIG welding. So depending upon the material, depending upon the finish level we require, so we use a different welding processes. And you can see one car body has shown here, and this is joined. So there are some pieces we need to join. So for that we have used a spot welding for this making of this car panel or body of this car. And the next one is metalworking process. In the metalworking process, as I said earlier, there are two classifications. One is bulk manufacturing or bulk deformation process. Another one is sheet metalworking process. So this is bulk deformation process. Here we will not remove any material, but instead of that we change the shape from one form to another form. And you can see here, this is a plate. It is undergoing for bending. Before bending, it is a flat and straight plate. And you can see here, this is a rectangular billet. Before forging process, the shape is like this, but after forging you can see the change of shape. And similarly, this is a extrusion process. And before mechanical working process, the shape is a cylindrical larger dimension, but after processing, that is after extrusion, you got small rods. So metalworking, one of the classification is bulk manufacturing or bulk plastic deformation process, where we just change the shape from one form to another form. And the second one is sheet metalworking process, where we remove small amount of material, okay, for getting the holes, etc., and we change the shape into the desired shape, like you can see here. And this is a cup shape drawing process, and we also called as a stamping process. There are so many processes are there in sheet metalworking process. All those we discuss in the coming classes. And the next one is very important one, is theory of metal cutting and engineering. What is this? So previously we have seen joining processes and casting processes, and the third one is changing of the shape from one form to another form. But the three previous processes will get the desired shape, but we will not get required dimensional accuracy and the required finish level. So in order to get these two things to the existing product, then we need to go for machining process or metal cutting process. So that's what we study in this unit: how the material is removed, why we need to remove the material, and what is going during the, or what is happening during the metal removal process. All those things we discuss during the metal cutting process. Okay, so in order to remove the material, we require a cutting tool. So you can see a cutting tool, and we require a machine tool. So depending upon the shape and the size of the workpiece, various machine tools are available. So one of the machine tool is a lathe machine. In the lathe machine, we use it for cylindrical workpieces like this. So you can see, you know the example of or the application of this. Let us assume this is the raw material, and this raw material we have converted into this shape. Okay, so in order to get this shape, we require a machine called as a lathe. And similarly, if you want to produce a shapes like this, a hollow cylinders or small holes or a stepped component like this, so we need to use this lathe machine. And the next important machine tool is milling machine. The milling machine is also called as versatile milling machine, because we can use it for cylindrical objects or rectangular components or any shape. You can see here, so this is a rectangular block. Out of it we have removed this contour shape, and if you want to get this shape, we have to go for a milling machine. And similarly, if you want to produce a gear, you can use it milling machine. And similarly, shaping, slotting, and planing. So this is another category of machine tools, where the cutting tool reciprocates, or these machine tools uses reciprocating mechanism, whereas milling machine and the turning machine or lathe machine uses or convert the rotary power to rotary output, rotary input to the rotary output. Whereas these machine tools, that is shaping, slotting and planing, it will take the input as a rotary, and the output is either to the workpiece or to the tool. You will get reciprocating movement. So whenever some shapes, like you can see a cam if you want to produce, a spline shaft if you want to produce, then we can use this type of machines, that is reciprocating machine tools. So that we are going to study in unit number 4. And the unit number 4 also consisting of this is unit number 5. The unit number 5 consisting of drilling and boring machines. So the purpose of the drilling and boring machines, you can see these visuals. The drilling machine is making the holes, and the boring machines we can use it for enlarging of existing holes. So this is a boring machine, and this is these are the drilling machines. So the main purpose of these machines is to initially, suppose a solid workpiece is there, if you want to if you want to make a hole, you can see here, if you want to make a hole for fixing of a bolt or nut or joining of the two plates, etc. So we have to insert the hole. So in order to insert the hole, we require a drilling machine. So this is a hand drilling machine, and this is pillar type drilling machine. This is a boring machine where we convert smaller holes into larger holes. Like a best example is a cylinders or your engine cylinders. The last topic in our syllabus is grinding processes and grinding machines. What is this grinding machines and grinding processes? You can see this workpiece. Before machining, this is a finishing lever, and after grinding process, and this is a finishing lever. That means the grinding process, we use it for finishing of the already machined components. Not only that, if you want to improve the dimensional accuracy, for these two purposes we use the grinding process. One is for improving the dimensional accuracy, another one is finishing of the surface. So the second example also you can see here. So this is before finishing. Okay, this area we are not grinded, whereas this area we grinded, so that you can see the difference in finishing point of view. So if you want a finishing like this, then we go for grinding processes. So one of the grinding machine is, this is a hand grinding machine or bench grinding machine, and this is cylindrical grinding machine. So this is, if you want to machine these type of components, then we need to use it for a machine called as a cylindrical grinding machine. And this is a rough grinding purpose. So this machine we call as a bench grinding machine. So rough grinding, suppose if any flash or any projections or small projections which are produced during the casting or welding or forging process, if you want to remove, then we go for bench grinding. Similarly, there are different types of grinding machines are available. So all those things we will discuss in the grinding processes and grinding machine chapter. So that's all about this entire syllabus. So I will stop it here. We will continue in the next class.